Hello everybody, welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be a twin flame message. And so I woke up this morning with a song on repeat, and it was Raise a Little Hell. And so a fire's been lit. And with this full moon eclipse in Scorpio, it is the energy of never ever being able to forget somebody that's wronged you and feeling the need to get some revenge. And so the energy of revenge is coming up, and I had to deal with a major crisis yesterday with my daughter. Those that have followed me through the years know that my oldest daughter has been bullied for many years now at this school that they go to. And yesterday I reached my breaking point. This one specific girl that has constantly been obsessed with bullying Kenzie, tearing her down, just making her feel worthless, ended up stealing her phone out of her locker yesterday. I had to go to the school. I had to phone the police. And then it came to light that this girl and her family was actually the ones that called Child Protective Services on me a couple of years ago with a bunch of bogus lies. And so I'm going to be raising a little hell. I'm going to be putting in them firm boundaries, and I'm going to make sure that karmic justice is going to be served. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm all done sitting idle. I'm all done standing still and allowing this crap to kind of go on in and around me. I'm fed up with restraining myself when it comes to all of this energy. And so Kenzie went through a huge emotional release last night. Keep in mind, my oldest daughter, Kenzie, is a Leo rising. She's a Scorpio 4th house, and she's also a Venus in Scorpio. And so she's ready to rumble. She's ready to go to that school and confront this girl and basically beat the shit out of her. And to be honest with you, I'm at a point where I say go for it. Go beat the shit out of this girl, because obviously she needs an ass kicking in order to wake herself up. And that's where I'm at. I feel a lot of these masculines need an ass kicking as well. And so the number 12 kept sticking out for me, which is interesting because my karmic ex was born on the 12th. And so there's a little bit of raising hell I'd like to do there too, but that person isn't even worth any breath to even address that person. But I feel many are coming into all of this awareness of where they've been wronged, where that karma has not balanced out, and we got to release all of these negative emotions. We have to properly release this. And so it's going to be hard, I feel, for many of the twins to restrain themselves when it comes to all of the injustices that we've had to endure on the awakening process. And so I want to remind the collective the importance of meditation and inaction. Although it can be very tempting to confront these bullies, to confront the counterpart, to confront the karmic, we kind of have to stay in the mystery, unfortunately, of kind of standing still. I do feel many of the masculines have been taken to the cross. It's the energy of Eden, back to the beginning. And I feel many of the feminines are deeply connected with goddess Lakshmi at this time. I feel many of the feminines know how to properly withdraw in order to maintain a sense of balance and to maintain this communal support within the community. A lot of the feminines have reached beyond all of these temptations. And so our personal expression right now, we're being asked to socially withdraw. And so the kids are home today, so there might be interruptions throughout the content that I put out there today. I'm not sending them back to that school this week. We're going to batten down the hatches, and we're going to work through all of this absurd bullying on our own first before we take action. And I'm to the point where I think I'm going to go to the news outlets. I'm going to be making calls to the school board, to the school. I'm not going to let this big elephant in the room keep getting swept under the rug anymore. And so the sky's the limit is what I want to say. And I feel there's a lot of absurd social expressions going on. A lot of extreme emotional manipulation, vengeance, revengeful energy coming through. And so the feminine, I feel, is being asked to go into isolation as all of this collective purification takes place. So rigorous withdrawal, I feel, is what is needed from any negative influences right now, Divine Feminine. And with my Mercury in Aries, I'm the type of Divine Feminine, you fuck around and you're going to find out, and you don't fuck with my kids. And pardon my language, but the most spiritual thing we can do is raise a little hell and speak our truth and not back down when it comes to these injustices. And so the feminine needs to really, really harness her discipline to maintain a pure state right now, to find your discipline, to take social caution with all of these very intense scorpionic energies. And so I do feel the masculine is going through some type of exposure. There's been this lack of confession. There's been this lack of self-analysis. And I do feel this full moon in Scorpio is bringing in this very harsh introspection when it comes to the lack of recognition and all of these unjustified vanities. And so right now I feel during this purging process, the feminine is coming to this realization of the masculine is inadequate. He doesn't even have anything to offer us, to be honest. And so he's been perverse. He's exaggerated his ego, and all of this is stemming around this underlying self-hatred. And so the masculine is deep within this expression of self-hatred, facing all of these inadequacies, and we're going through this very intense social refinement right now. We need to remember Pluto is retrograde. We've got all of these aspects playing out over the next coming days, and so there are 3 stages of Pluto. Pluto comes in first to destroy, to disempower, and to dismember all of these unjust situations. And then Pluto brings the awareness of what needs to be transformed. And so we're about to reach the final agenda, is what my guides told me. And so we are learning how to articulate being a prophet. Many of us are prophets. A lot of the feminines have this ability to foresee the end game, is what I want to say, the plan for the end game, the end game. And so there's a lot of stagnation as part of this preparation stage. And so I do feel the feminine, with her ability to foresee and express, has found her voice. We're here to find our voice and our wildness from within. We're here to express ourselves authentically, even if that expression falls on deaf ears. And so this is about higher education. That's another thing that I've been putting off on the back burner, is the education system. I am not sending my kids back into that distorted education system come fall. I'm getting my ducks in a row, and I'm going to be homeschooling permanently because of all of the distortion. This zero tolerance bully policy is a load of bull crap, because this same specific girl, which is the granddaughter of my next door neighbors, does not even live in this flippin' school district. They're using a fake address. And when I report that, the school's like, well, we just got to take their word for it. There's been no investigation, even though the proof is there. And where is the accountability with this distortion? Because there was other kids that weren't in the school district, just one street out of the school district, and they were moved out of the school. These were kids that had spent, the first half of their grade school age in the school, but yet a girl that doesn't even live on this part of town, on the other way of town, can use her grandma's address to go to this school. So I was really upset about this, because I've reported this several times. Nothing ever gets done. And so I'm getting ready to go to the newspapers in my local area, and I'm going to out this. Where is the implementation of this zero tolerance? Because I'm sorry, I'm afraid for the kids nowadays. Because when you're stealing stuff, when you're bullying at 10, 11, 12, what is going on in that home life is what I want to know, right? And why is my daughter always this target for this one specific girl to get all of these flying monkeys to target Mackenzie? This has been going on for years, and nothing is ever done about it. And so it's really hard for me to restrain myself, especially with all of the lies and the lessons that I've learned throughout this very distorted process. And so the neighbors next door, they harass me, they harass Kenzie. I've had to endure sexual harassment, narcissistic abuse for the last decade with these people next door. And now it's trickled down into their granddaughter, constantly being obsessed and harassing my daughter to the point where they basically hacked all of her Google accounts at school a while back. Like, what is this sick obsession? I want to know. And so we're here to implement higher education for the future. A lot of these children are very spiritually gifted, and this education system distorts them. It dims their light. The education system is not built for these crystal children. And that's also a big part of the twin flame mission, is for the children. And so the feminine is the light that brings this darkness into our consciousness, right? The feminine brings the light. And I feel now that the light is there, this full moon eclipse is illuminating all of the lies, all of the scandal, all of the manipulation. The masculine now has to go into this very, very painful remembrance because he's not chosen to learn the lesson. And so I got a big download about the twins. And so there's going to be a lot of masculines that are going to choose to stay in these lower karmic cycles. And so divine feminine, if you've been on the path of choosing growth, and just self-love and on the path of self-improvement, and you've been on this path for several years and you've been on the rise, and your counterpart has still chosen to stay stuck in a karmic cycle, whether that's drug addictions, alcohol addictions, porn addictions, or with a karmic entity, like an actual karmic person, let them go. Because we are so far out of reach from that person, they're not going to be coming with us into this new timeline. Let them go. So you can manifest a high vibration soulmate, okay? Because the lies, the painful experience that the masculine put the feminine through, and the lack of lesson learned, a lot of these masculines are choosing to stay in this conditioned mindset, which is going to just keep recreating for them the most painful social experiences. And maybe that's their karma, right? It's hard to say. But I do feel the feminine has gone through this beautiful metamorphosis. We've embraced real change in our life. We found faith in the journey. And now it's time for us to apply our efforts and our energy towards new change. We can't stay stuck at this standstill waiting for the masculine to emerge from the karmic wreckage that they created. And so we're in this retrograde motion of metamorphosis right now, and a lot of the feminines have evolved and perfected their spiritual practices. And so I do feel the feminine's going to be experiencing this very creative, harmonic transcendence. A lot of the feminines are very connected. Their channels are open. We're open to being these leaders, to this success. And we've embraced the emergence of these new social forms and structures, 1313. And so the feminine's capacity to mutate has been beautiful, is what I want to say. And so the masculine's lack of openness has really hindered his evolution process. And so I do feel a lot of the masculines, 1331 now, are at a standstill. They've blocked their throat. They've lacked the energy to harness their solar plexus center to do the right thing. There's been a lack of apology. There's been a lack of confession. There's been a lack of articulating the truth, right? And so I feel a lot of the masculines are feeling very restrained. They're very moody, and they've kept silent for so long, even though they know they have something to say. And so I feel the feminine's voice is getting louder and louder when it comes to the choices that the masculine has made. And so this standing still, this over contemplating, this need for perfection, I feel all of this is going to be expressed in a very negative manner throughout this eclipse portal this weekend. And so I do feel it is the energy of facing the consequences of some past actions here. And so I do feel the masculine is deep within the sorrows of this lost love. what he could have chosen to creatively express with the feminine. And so I feel a lot of the feminines are all done giving chances. I'm all done giving chances. You mess up the first time, there's no second chances in my life anymore. I love, I give, I never expect anything in return except for some self-respect. I want people to respect me. That, you know, we always tell people, treat people how you want to be treated. I treat everybody with kindness. I love everybody intentionally on purpose. I give and give and give. I never ask for anything in return. And this is where I'm getting this clarity of, you know what? I'm all done being the punching bag for the world. As a Pisces rising, that's what it's felt like. It's felt like I've been this punching bag. I've had to find my way through the fire, through this transformational experience, to find my own inspiration on my own. And so I do feel there's going to be a lot of breakdowns that are going to cause a lot of negative impacts this weekend. So we can get clear about what it is we're feeling, why we're feeling it, what we need to retreat from, and where we need to take back our power. And so I know I've come into this realization that I've wasted a lot of time focusing on this person who can't even have the courage to take accountability for the damage left behind. And so I'm on the path of this phase of regenerating a new cycle, understanding that that ending with the counterpart was not a failure. It was a lesson. Thank you for the lesson. I've gotten to a place of emotional stability again, and I will no longer accept any type of drama, chaos, or conflict in my life whatsoever. And the masculine's inferiority complex, I feel, is really just a sign of personal weakness. These men are very, very weak. They're very, very emotionally unstable, and they can't handle conflict, right? Anybody that comes from a place of integrity will not back down from conflict because we got nothing to hide. And so I feel we're in this gateway of friction. You're going to have to feel all of these emotions. It's going to be very sensitively driven, the energies. And so growth cannot happen without all of the chaos, the conflict, and the friction, right? And so I do feel the masculines are in this very inferior position. And I do feel they're looking at the feminine, and they're basically at the weakest point in their life right now. They chose the weakest link. They chose conflict. They chose to exploit the feminine and to emotionally scar the feminine. A lot of them scarred us. And now the energy is striking the masculine back. And so all of the past blunders are coming up. And it's like the masculine's in this blender of conflict right now because he chose the karmic allegiance instead of the higher divine love connection with the feminine. He chose to secure finances, his ego strength, and in actuality, that was a very weak position for the masculine to take. And so I do feel, I don't know. I feel I'm at a point on my journey where I don't want this union at all anymore with this person. I consider this man to be very mundane. I think he was a sexual predator almost. All he wanted was to have all of these sexual connections. He didn't have any depth of feeling to him at all. And so I want an enriched union. I want somebody that I can be emotionally and physically intimate with. And so the rejection I feel and the false allegiance, I'm all done. That's where I'm at. And so the masculine chose that established order of control. And so I feel eventually many of the feminines are going to get to this point where they're going to reject the counterpart because of the lack of intimacy. And so we're at this juxtaposition, right? We're at the crossroads, and there's going to be a lot of conflict. And I feel the feminine is reaching a place of triumph over these conflicts this weekend. And so get ready to be challenged, I want to say. But the feminine has this natural leadership position of unchallengeable power. Fuck around and find out. That's what I got to say. You mess with a mama bear, fuck around and find out. And so I do feel a lot of the feminine's goals have been charity, to bring forward the spiritual wisdom. And that will always come with victory. So keep moving towards the new divine feminine. Keep moving towards the new horizons, because we've harnessed the power of our emotions. And now we are the dominant in this relationship. And so the masculine is going to have to conquer the ego. He's going to conquer the purging. I feel this huge lack of emotional control bring forward all kinds of destruction in those relationships that the masculine has been connected to. And so it's like the energy of arbitration. Go into God's courtroom. The judge, the higher authority judge, is coming down and saying, yo, it is time to strike a balance here. There's been a lack of balance, and I do feel there's going to be all kinds of direct conflicts that are going to further the masculine down this pathway of wanting to control things. We're never, ever in control. The feminine's path, I feel, has been striving to create a better world, where the masculine has lacked discipline, has lacked integrity. He's felt like he's a superior force, when ultimately he's just this weak little hurt boy on the inside, operating out of survival mode. And he's got no friends. He's surrounded by foes. And so I do feel all of those actions that were very unacceptable need to be addressed. I don't feel the masculine has any satisfaction in his life. This emotional power struggle and conflicting battle needs to be tempered, is what I feel. And so the feminine is the peacemaker, right? The feminine's actions have shown this peacemaking energy when it comes to tapping into the highest reason why we're here. Our life is here to be sacred. You know, hurt people, healed people, heal people. And so when we harness our emotional power and we temper and end this conflict internally, and we embrace our emoting feelings and our sensitivity as an empath, that truly is our greatest power. And so there's a lot recalibrating in the solar plexus right now, bringing forward all of this emotional awareness, these feelings, these moods, all of this sensitivity at this time. And so we're in a very powerful combination of energies, and what I was shown like this big wave, like a tsunami. And so the tsunami comes to create the friction, and the friction is ultimately essential for growth. We can't keep playing into these mechanics, these subconscious mechanics. We need to step into our highest personal auric field. And so all of these unresolved conflicts, I feel, have reached a breaking point of resonance. And we cannot have intimacy without an open heart. Until there is an opening of the heart, the feminine feels like she's stuck there waiting, even though she's ready and she's fertile. So get ready for some emotional waves this weekend is what I feel. And so we can either choose to open up to intimacy, or we can close off to it. The masculines have free will. Although it feels like we don't have free will, I just feel it's a different perspective for me. We had free will. I could have chose to not embrace my karmic pathway, and I could have chose to remain in these lower karmic cycles. But I wasn't growing. I didn't maintain healthy boundaries in these lower cycles. And so I do feel a lot of the feminines have gone through this internal transformation with their mind, their body, and their soul. And I know for me, I don't know that I will ever be able to open up and be intimate with anybody after this, right? I had that bond, that union in the etheric realms. And years after the fact, the masculine is still playing into the sphere of intimacy, which is why I'm choosing to walk away. The lack of the breaking down of the barriers, the fear of intimacy. I'm done being dragged into this darkness with the divine masculine. I'm choosing to step into the light. And I do feel that is what the feminine needs to do right now. Step into the light. Allow the masculine to go through all of this emotional crisis on his own like you had to. And so there's many rules to these cycles, right? And so the masculine's in a declining cycle. He's going to have to endure this stage of the process. There was a lack of action, there was a lack of awareness, and now the masculine is going to have to face this emotional crisis. There is a big shift, and cycles are ending for new cycles to begin. And so what we resist will persist. So all of this resistance, this over principled resistance is what I want to say, has brought forward all of these negative patterns. It's incurring all kinds of opposition right now, because this resistance to change will always bring a moment of crisis. It's the energy of a tower. The feminine knows how to handle her emotional power in times of crisis. I actually handled that crisis very well yesterday. I was very proud of myself. I was like, is this a test? Is this a test? Because normally I would have went into that school fire and fucks, and I went in there very calm. And I told the principal, we're calling the police. We're reporting this. They don't have cameras anywhere in the school. They don't have proof. I know who it was. All the other kids know who it was, and still nothing has been done when it comes to repercussions. And it's been the same girl for the last 5 years, and I am at my breaking point. So we're going to handle this with a little bit of grace, a little bit of balance. But you fucked around, and now you're going to find out, because the wrath of the divine feminine, when she harnesses the dark empath within her, I would be running for the hills is kind of what I want to say. And so I feel the feminine has gathered all of this support as well throughout the years. Many of us gather support with our soul tribe and all of this. And so the feminine, her main purpose has been for the benefit of all, the benefit of others. And so the masculine's lack of these general principles and the avoidance of being there as you know, a true partner with the feminine in her times of crisis, well, now he's at a point where he's going to have all of his power exhausted. I do feel they're transitioning. I do feel many of them are going to be hitting a rock bottom coming up here. And what I want to say is, it's about damn time. It's about damn time. And so if we are to establish this new spiritual worldly order, we have to rise out of the ashes of the old, right? Is the energy of the phoenix. And so speaking of the phoenix, I got little phoenix here. My daughter's got me a phoenix figure for my birthday, and then we get the unicorn. And I channeled those energies on Facebook on a morning message. But anyway, so I do feel the masculine's in this emotional depth of crisis, and he can choose to embrace the change or not. And so we are trying to assimilate this renewal process. The old can no longer remain. If any of the old order remains, the new order will not be able to bring forward the change, is kind of what it feels like. And so the masculine is deep within these feelings. He's refusing to let go of the past. And I just feel everything is declining around him. The accumulation of all of these secrets are coming to light. I think the awareness of the feminine having this secret privileged knowledge too. And so a lot of the feminines have these awakenings, these self-realizations, the spontaneous Kundalini awakening. And so a lot of the feminines are here to bring forward this esoteric knowledge, outwardly and covertly. What I want to say is, just be prepared for a major crisis and change. If you are stuck in a karmic cycle as well, divine feminine, and this could apply to either or, we're all at different stages and timelines. Be prepared for crisis and change. A lot of people are in these twin flame relationships, and they've been going back and forth, running and chasing for the last couple of years, calling it twin flame, when actually it is like a narcissistic empath bond. I feel a lot of the masculines are narcissistic, and then the karmic they end up with is likely like borderline personality disorder. And isn't that karmic justice in itself, right? And so I do feel they're going to have to accept this inevitable breakdown rather than to keep persisting with this resistance, because they are here to offer their services to the collective as the feminine. That's the only way to guarantee the survival. And so a lot of the feminines kind of serve as like this double agent, right? We've got the knowledge, we've gone through the crisis, and so we're there for others. And I feel now the masculine is paying a very high karmic price for his lack of better judgment. He's deep within the underground, underworld energy. And so the feminine has perfected coming out of survival mode, regardless of anything that she's ever had to face. And so I feel the feminine's in this energy of immunity to this crisis. And the feminine has called it all along that all of this karmic energy is going to lead the masculine to some self-betraying cycles, right? He's self-betrayed. And so there is justice being served, is what it feels like. The inevitable survival of what is right, what is just. What I want to say is the truth will always come to light. The truth will always come to light. People will eventually always tell on themselves. And so the feminine is being asked to attend to her faith as all of these powers of darkness eventually destroy the masculine. And so God's wish is to destroy this incorrectedness. And so God wishes to destroy the injustices. But first we got to get mad. We got to get angry, right? Anger and sacred rage is a part of the transformation process. And I feel that's where the feminines are at. They want correctness of this past abuse, these past crises, and all of this is out of our pure feelings of love. And so I feel the masculine is in a deep state of profound sorrow. He was cynical. He diminished the feminine's worth and value through lack of understanding. And so this darkness is this self-annihilating takedown, the sorrow, the cynicism, the desperateness, because he has to correct this. There's always going to be a crisis when you've not course corrected, when you've been given many opportunities. And my counterpart, the doorway was open many times. Now the doorway's shut. I've got him blocked. He unblocked me on Snapchat and I blocked him right away. There's no forms of communication there. And so I do feel these deeply seated fears is bring forward an emotional crisis of vulnerability, because this does need to be resolved and transformed. And so there's all of these challenges being created that the masculine is going to have to meet as part of this emotional crisis that's likely created by the people he's connected with. And this is going to create a sense of loss, is what I feel. And so we have to hold on to hope as these waves of pain are driving the collective towards a new human experience. And so I feel a lot of the energy during this eclipse is going to be aimed directly at the throat center, as this full range of depths of emotions are kind of being released, and we manifest through our emotions. And so I do feel the karmic is the trigger for the release that the masculine is going through right now. And so refocusing our directions. These eclipses come in and it is fated. It is destined. There is nothing we can do to avoid these personal times of crisis. So what we need to do, Divine Feminine, we need to remain steady. We need to remain patient. And we need to embrace whatever feelings are coming up for us to purge as well, so we can keep staying grounded in our natural expression. I do feel this is very overwhelming for the masculine. It's very uncomfortable for the masculine. But either way, whatever is unfolding, this is for us all to reach our deepest emotional depth, to access our own truth. And so without truth, we will always feel inadequate. We will always feel unfulfilled. And we will never be able to meet our own expectations. And so with Pluto, it comes in to disempower us. And so this is because the masculine failed to assert his divine will. And so I feel there's all of these outside forces right now preventing him from doing what he does want to do. Or maybe because he's not even aware of what he wants. But I do feel the energy of disempowerment. And this is all going to take him back to the start, for example, where he was disempowered in early life with a parent whether he knows about this or if this is unknowingly. And so I do feel this disempowerment stage is inflicted emotionally, psychologically, and maybe even a lot of the masculines are facing some physical abuse. There's going to be some sort of display of power and control with all of these very heavy plutonic energies playing out. And so I do feel there's a lot of plutonic abuses being projected onto the masculine. And I do feel this is where he's going to need to harness his strength as he goes through this disempowerment. He's likely experiencing a lot of fear, a lot of angst, a lot of uncertainty, and he's feeling powerless. And this is going to bring him deep into the underworld, right? To try and understand why he is being disempowered. Why does he have to relive this disempowering episode? Because it is there to bring the subconscious experience and all of these unprocessed feelings into the conscious awareness. And so we're in a very intense stage of this Pluto cycle of change, but it is also going to be very liberating. And so I think many are going to be experiencing a lot of great distress, resistance. I think feelings are going to be out of control. As you can tell, I'm a little bit animated today. And so we can't give up halfway through the process. Once the process begins, we have to follow through. And so the deeper the masculine resists this, the deeper and deeper they're going to go into the depths of the darkness until they find acceptance of what they need to release. And so a lot of them have succumbed to the pressure. And so eventually he's going to have to find his true power. But true power does not seek control. It does not seek to take advantage of and to win. But true power is basically about seeking and expressing and owning our truth in a way that serves humanity's best interest at large. And so we're kind of in this stage where we go through this final release or this state of catharsis to gain a new understanding of ourselves and the twin flame journey. And then we'll get to the final stage of this transformation. And transformation is always taken through action, right? It's action oriented. And so when we get our power back, when we get our power back, we have to stop acting as a selfish individual with the Mars. What I want, what I need. And then we have to take responsibility. And this does include the best interest of the entire collective. And so I do feel this process is lifelong. It is continuous. But the masculine's actions are being challenged and realigned because of the environment that he's connected to. And so I feel the feminine is at a stage where we're kind of in this sense of flow and we are feeling re-energized and alive. So I see the school just called me. I guess they don't like that. We took a day off. But let's jump in with some cards and see what needs to come through. The school can wait. I'll call them back. There's the heart energy on the bottom of the deck with the energy oracle cards. I'm going to use the tea leaf deck today. What do we got here? Oh, we got the bridge. The bridge energy and the dolphin. So burning bridges, mending bridges, and the flute, disappointment in a friend or lover. And so I do feel major endings. But let's see what needs to come through with the tea leaf deck to start for these weekend energies. And I did pick the tea leaf deck because of the messages that come through. So the fair woman, I know for my counterpart, he is dealing with a younger woman with short blonde hair. And so dealings with that karmic woman. What do we got here? November, April, and nest, bottom of the deck, candle. You will be shown the way when it comes to these unions. We get the marriage card. We get the happiness. I love it. And then we get the butterfly. So a change for the better. We're going through a major metamorphosis here. And so this is all coming kind of full circle, right? So this is the Taurus Scorpio axis, November and April. And so this eclipse will fully close out in Scorpio season. And so we get the nest energy, which is speaking of an emotionally secure and loving family. Isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what we all strive for? And so there's a karmic block here, and it would be the karmic entity is the block for this change. Marriage, happiness, you will be shown the way, and that is the energy of the flame. Oh my God. And then we get the man holding a heart with the higher heart chakra activation. And so there's the masculine. You know, his heart isn't even inside his body. He's not giving his heart away. He's kind of locked his heart up. He's holding it. He hasn't given it away yet. And there's an opportunity to maybe bring in an offer that could lead to a happy family. But first, the masculine is going to have to show appreciation to the feminine by walking away from the karmic cycles. So let's see what needs to come through with this. With this deck, community. Okay, so I get a couple messages from the community card. I think there's a lot of gossip. It is a 7 card, so we are in the year of the truth. I see 3 women, and when I see 3 women together, I think a bunch of gossipy, catty women. Women like to gossip. I'm not a fan of gossip. So there's a lot of talk in the community is what I'm feeling about this new cycle, about some deceit being exposed. And so that's where I'm at. I do feel the karmic has kind of called in her flying monkeys to try and slander the masculine and the feminine. And so there's that third eye activation, the awareness, the awakening of how to walk through the doorway to this healing and this happiness. And so many doorways are closing, many doorways are opening. And I do feel the feminine is going to be presented with an adjacent possibility, because the feminine is coming into all of this abundance that she's manifested because she's embraced this healing journey of Jesus consciousness. And then there's the masculine all tied up, needing to take action to release these karmic attachments and these distorted views of the ego. And that is a block to these caring connections. So there's that Libra energy. The contracts, closing out the contracts that we blindly went into. The lower contract, 6 is, I think 6, the mark of the beast. 666 was showing up a lot yesterday for sync, and even this morning my gas meter was at 2666. And so it's like we got to face that karmic judgment, right? And so action is going to be required. And I do feel the downloads have come. It's kind of time to take that action. So let's see what else needs to come through with the tarot. We got the Queen of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. I really don't like that Queen of Wands energy. But we're going to get some cards as to where the masculine is at. And we'll get some cards for the feminine. So where is the divine masculine at in these energies? We'll do one more round. Well, we got truth. Truth, no more denying the truth with the Ace of Swords. We get the 6 of Pentacles and the 6 of Wands. So we get the 6 of Pentacles reversed with the 6 of Wands. We get the Ace of Swords. Ooh, and we get the Knight of Wands with the 10 of Cups. So I feel an awareness of the imbalance. I do feel some karma. The masculine is receiving some bad karma, paying off some karmic debt. I do feel victory on the other side of sorrow. And so a recognition of it's time to act now and think later. And I do feel he has to kind of mature, right? And I do feel a total recognition of failing to recognize this opportunity. So there is a possibility for motivational action. I do feel the masculine is feeling inspired by the feminine as she kind of steps into the spotlight. And her public speaking role, it does create this oversensitivity to all of this criticism around the masculine. And so we are here to communicate these visions together, but we got to leave behind the ego, right? The ego. And so the masculines chose money over love. They did not support the feminine. They did not support the kids. If kids were in the mix, they were not a good person. All they cared about was accomplishment, money. They chose the karmic pathway, and I do feel they've been stuck for a long time learning how to forgive themselves for this missed opportunity. And so I do feel the energy is very ungrounded, but I do feel a release and leaving behind what was not wish fulfillment. And there's going to be some major endings when it comes to those false twin flame connections. So we can have movement and victory, likely around Cancer season. So let me see. I'm going to use the Light Seers deck. We'll use the Light Seers deck for the feminine. There's the feminine, Hermit, Knight of Pentacles, and you've got a big decision to make here too. And so what do you want to invest in moving forward? because we're not investing in anything that is going to bring us any drama. We're manifesting. I think a lot of the feminines just want something brand new. We've given up all hope of an apology or any communication. I know where I'm at. When pigs fucking fly, will I ever hear that man speak the truth? So the feminine's at a crossroads and has a big decision to make this moon cycle too. So I do feel, get ready to dive deep into some emotions to gain a new perspective. We'll see what else needs to come through. So go within, hold the light, be the light, stay the course. Slow and steady wins the race is what I want to say. We got lots of Virgo coming through. We get the Six of Wands. What's on the bottom? Oh, we got the Death. I just wanted to poke out. So we got the Six of Wands. We have the Death card. And we have Judgment. And so, yeah, I do feel as you complete this process of soul retrieval, it is bringing you victory and success. You have won the battle. You're on the other side. You've faced the challenges. It's time for you to reap the rewards of your rebirth process. And so we've gone from codependency to interdependencies. We've rebirthed that. We've rebirthed out of the dark night of the soul. And I do feel there's going to be an unexpected offer coming in, maybe from the masculine. Now he's upright. Now he's upright. So maybe get ready for unexpected communication is kind of what it feels like. So let's grab some twin flame oracle messages. Can't believe we're at 46 minutes. So attachments. Where do you need to cut cords in order to start new with love? Because the divine has a plan, and the divine is bringing you what you asked for, and the answers are coming. So you need to kind of just trust and listen to your soul's guidance at this time. We're going through a massive energy clearing portal. We need to cleanse our energy field to open up to this new energy. And so I do feel we are shifting at a difficulty, but it always does get darkest before the dawn. And so as the feminine balances her inner masculine and feminine and reaches a state of wholeness, the masculine now has to face all of these challenges related to past life karma and all of these old wounds that we have shared. So I do feel a portal of manifestation, and the feminine has the power to create all of her desires. So we'll close off the reading with a message from the counterpart. Well, look at that. I wish I could take back the things that I said. Lying was just easier than telling you the truth. And you do inspire him. But liar, liar, pants on fire. He can't seem to find the words to say to you. And so just don't take it personally, divine feminine. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something severely wrong with these divine masculines. So don't take it personal. And that's kind of what I got for the weekend check-in for the twins. I hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book a personal or a soulmate reading, check out the description box below. And I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.